Venable. Venable. Oh, woo. I got the name. I hope this matters, and I hope she stays around the whole season. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's EJ Marino, and this is About Last Night, the show where I talk about the movie I saw last night. Oh boy, I'm just so excited to jump into this episode. Why? Because I'm talking about episode 3 of American Horror Story Apocalypse.
American Horror Story Apocalypse.
We are only 3 episodes into this season, and the whole game just changed. I'm at a loss for words at how wild this episode is. I thought the premiere was great. I thought last week's episode, The Morning After, was amazing. But this episode, Forbidden Fruit, once again, Ryan Murphy, just ask for my wig. Stop scalping me each week with a great episode of Horror Story. What an amazing episode this was. I cannot wait to talk about this. There is so much happening. Like I said, the game has changed. Horror Story Apocalypse is way different than I thought this was going to be. Things start off in an amazing way because I loved the opening of this episode. We had basically Langdon going around and interviewing people in Outpost 3. He starts off with like Timothy and Mr. Gallant and Andre, who is Dinah's son, Jeffrey Boyer Chapman's character, kind of interviewing them. Nothing too juicy there, kind of covering up Evie's death and telling Timothy that like, I want to get the best people to stay. Nothing too crazy. The great interviews, though, were with Dinah, with Coco, and with Mallory. First off, the interview with Dinah, so much in that. Dinah is Adina Porter's character, an amazing actress. She had a really good interaction with Langdon. Basically, he knows her. She's from another outpost. He has dealt with her before. What? The first jaw drop moment for me, because I was like, what? How? What? Where? It was insane. I really liked their connection. I liked their back and forth. I also like that she said she wasn't powerful enough to take him down, to stop him, so she's not a threat to him. We'll talk about that later on, but I was just like, powerful. What does that mean? Choices of words. Great there. Then we go to the Coco interview. All right, so this wasn't as juicy other than we find out that like she hates Mallory and Langdon shades her with basically saying she's too vapid and shallow to actually be a dark, evil person. I really like that. Interesting interaction with there. She'll play a bigger part later on in this episode. Coco, I love her. I love Leslie Grosum's character. But I was just like, okay, this is weird. She's getting really bitchy. Like, she was at first like fun mean, and in this episode, she became really cruel. It started to feel like it was her time to go because I was just like, come on, Coco, this is really like a different level of hatred I didn't think you had. But the real highlight of the interviews was Mallory and Langdon's interaction. Mallory, I loved her. First off, the hair she has, the hair this season is out of this world. I love it. She's always had great hair from like Scream Queens to The Last Jedi to this season. I love how she looks. I love Billie Lourd's character. I love her acting. But what I really loved is to see that Mallory has some power we were not. Maybe you were ready for it. I wasn't ready for Mallory and her just being a little Miss Billy Badass because holy shit, Langdon seemed terrified of her. Langdon seems like when she showed her power, started to reveal her true self, he was shook enough that he showed his true demon face as well. I was just like, oh, what's happening here? Now, my theory is, this is gonna get wild, so excuse me. So in Murder House, Langdon had a twin when he was born. The twin died. Okay, what if, because Mallory kept saying she doesn't know who she is. She doesn't feel right. She feels like someone's inside of her trying to come out. Is she the twin? Is there like some weird reincarnation where the twin went into her soul? Because she'll end up, we'll talk about it later, she is a witch, but she seems more powerful than a normal witch. She seems to actually have some, maybe she's the next Supreme, who knows? But there's something there, and I believe that she has that spirit of Langdon, that she might actually be how I thought we were gonna have like an Adam and Eve, like a savior baby. No, she might be the savior, and we might be in for a great stuff with Mallory. I said she was building up, and I wanted to see more of her. Thank you for not letting me down with this amazing reveal. So amazing. Oh, God, I loved it. Jumping around the episode a little bit, I also really like that we got to see the surface level. I said at the end of my last episode that I really wanted to see what this post-apocalyptic world looked like. And they did not let me down again, because I got to see the surface. It is this weird blue-tinged world. What I like about that especially is most apocalyptic shows and movies, think of Mad Max Fury Road. They go for oranges, they go for these reds, these yellows. To see this cold, harsh blue was a dramatic change for usual post-apocalyptic worlds. Really happy. But what I was also happy about is the return of Billy Eichner's Brock character. He was, okay, so if you don't remember, he was in the first episode. Coco basically left him behind, and he was there just basically to deal with all this radiation fallout. And he's been dealing, this poor baby, he looks like such a mess. He's been going through it, but he has a mission. His mission is to find Coco and get his revenge for her basically leaving him behind. At first I didn't think it was revenge. I think he just wanted to see her. And then finding out where she's been, how bitchy she is, he was not dealing with it. I really like that. So, he basically is trying to sneak into Outpost 3. He sneaks in, he basically has to kill Amazon Eve. She was the 6'7" girl, which, side note, I am only 5'3". To think of somebody being 6'7" just scares me. But yeah, he basically has to kill her to get in, which surprised me because I did think she was another robot. So he kills her, gets into Outpost 3, and he makes his presence known to Coco. I'll talk about that in a little bit when we talk about the Masquerade Ball. But I was so happy to see him get introduced to the story and get introduced in this weird way. I did just mention the Masquerade Ball. So that is a plan that Venable and Miss Meade has to kind of kill everybody in this outpost. So let's jump a little bit before that. We got a Miss Meade backstory, or the memories that are implanted into her head, which was very strange. So it is confirmed she's a robot. At the end of the last episode, we saw her shot, we saw her all the her weird robotic insides. So we find out that she was created by the Cooperative to basically watch Outpost 3, to be with Venable, or so we think. Oh, wow, what a twist at the end with that. But we find out that that's basically her duty. She's there to work with Venable. They have a plan. They find out that basically Langdon is like, nah, Venable's not going to the sanctuary. I don't want her. Miss Meade's shook by that, or so we think. So she comes up with the plan, hey, let's poison all of these people. Let's use these apples that mysteriously show up. Also, if you're in a weird outpost and you get all these miraculous Garden of Eden like apples, don't bite into it. Don't eat the apples. Learned it from Snow White, learned it from Eve. Don't eat a random apple you find. But so basically they think the Cooperative sends them these apples as treats. Venable and Miss Meade turn that around and saying, we could use these to kill everyone at this Masquerade Ball. Because also, surprise, it's Halloween. Ryan Murphy gave me a Halloween episode in the middle of September. He knows what I want. He knows I am clamoring for some Halloween. And this was another weird Halloween episode in the history of American Horror Stories Halloween episodes. A Masquerade Ball where all this crazy stuff happens. Great addition into it. But what was really interesting is to see Miss Meade and Venable, their connection. It's interesting to see. I love Kathy Bates and Sarah Paulson working together. I like seeing Venable and Miss Meade working together. Their plan to kill everyone at the Masquerade Ball, actually, it's not a bad plan, and it works. Because this Masquerade Ball is one of the most wild, disgusting, Evil Dead-inspired things I've seen in quite some time. Now we are at the Masquerade Ball. Brock has shown up in this weird outfit, basically to seduce Coco. She believes he's Langdon, so she's using all her her seduction skills, which aren't that great. She's using her seduction skills to basically try to get to the sanctuary, which I still don't think the sanctuary's real. My feelings. But yeah, so she's thinking it's Langdon's gonna seduce him, and Brock's like, surprise, bitch. It's actually me. You left me out there. That was me. And she's like, oh, but I've thought about you every day. He goes, you know what I've thought about? Stabbing you in the forehead, because Brock, Billy Eichner's character, stabs Coco in the head and kills her. What? We talked about jaw-dropping moments. I was not expecting that. That was a moment that I was like, that was gory, that was shocking, that was a major character that's dead. What is happening? If I only knew what was coming next. Oh my God, in this Masquerade Ball. Basically, everyone's like partying, eating the apples. Miss Meade and Venable's like, yes, eat our apples. They do. Everyone dies. If you would have told me in episode 3 of American Horror Story, like 95% of the main cast is gone, I would have been like, yeah, actually, you know what? I would have believed it because it's Ryan Murphy, it's American Horror Story. It is not that shocking, but it actually is, because Mr. Galleon's gone, Andre's gone, Dinah, Coco, Mallory, all these people are gone. Venable and Miss Meade think they've won. They think they're now are going to go up to Langdon and be like, surprise, you ready for this? But he has a surprise for them. So it turns out Langdon has been manipulating and running this show way more than we thought. He is actually like working with Miss Meade. Miss Meade's a little uncomfortable about it. I do feel that weird robot controlling thing does get into like making somebody subservient. Let's not get into that. But it is interesting that he's been running this. He's the one who thought of the Apple plan. He's the one who is basically like, I don't want to get my hands messy because my daddy never does that. Who is his daddy? Satan. What? Also, what a phone call to home where he was like, hey, Satan daddy, I don't know what's happening. Mallory's kind of strong. Venable's crazy. What should I do? That? Cool. Poison apple, a little bit of a bloody, boiling blood kind of tells him the way to go. So he decides to concoct all this plan. Miss Meade she's the one who shocked me the most. Because she goes, Venable's like, shoot him, kill him dead. Miss Meade's like, oh, and shoots Venable dead. Holy hell. I just learned her name and then you're gonna kill her? That is a true American Horror Story thing to do. You like this character? You just figure it out. She's dead now. Have fun. Surprise there. But I was even more surprised to find out that Langdon and Miss Meade have a history. He's the one who built her, basically. He's the one who told the cooperative, I want this android. He implants memories into her as well. During her backstory, she does talk about she can't remember this little angelic, beautiful boy she raised, and she kind of felt like a nanny to him. She felt this loving connection. It turns out that it was Langdon. Theories on that real quick. Now, was Kathy Bates an actual nanny he had that like raised him because his grandmother was a crazy woman? What was there? Or is Miss Meade his grandmother? Did he put Constant Langdon's like memories and her feelings into Miss Meade's body, into her programming? Because there's a connection there. We will probably get it eventually in the backstory episode. Seems like we're getting backstory next episode. But I'm curious to see what their connection is, because Langdon seems to actually genuinely like her. Sure, he could be faking it because he's a damn good showman. I love me some Langdon. But he hugged her, he connected with her, he cried with her. There's a weird connection there that I don't feel is fake. Maybe he's just playing me, the viewer, just as much as he's playing the Outpost. But I'm curious with what's going on there. What do you guys think? What's your thing of Miss Meade's, Langdon's connection? Because it's weird. So everyone's dead. Outpost 3 is all the people are vomited up, Evil Dead style, just gushing out vomit. Langdon's won. Or so we thought. In the biggest twist surprise of this episode, sure, we know the witches from Coven were coming, but not like this. Basically, we get witches from Coven. We get Myrtle Snow, Cordelia Fox. We get Madison Montgomery. Surprise, she's back too. They just walk up into Outpost 3. No protection from the Outworld as well. I guess the beauty of being a witch and magic, you could just kind of do a protection spell. So they walk up into Outpost 3, turn flames on and say, let's go get our sisters. There's witches in Outpost 3, and who are the witches? Oh my God. So Mallory, we've assumed, with her power earlier, I assumed she was going to be a witch. Then we have Dinah. She said she wasn't powerful enough to take on Langdon. Okay. But Coco's a witch as well. That's actually the one I'm looking forward to the most because I love her, and to her to have witch powers, who knows what that's going to lead to? What weird dynamics they're going to be. Even in the preview, she was like, "Can I not die again? That was weird, and I didn't have fun." I love her so much. But interesting that these three are witches. The witches from Coven have decided to save these three to kind of build a witch army. What? Also the weirder moment. As Cordelia kind of brings everyone back to life, Mallory wakes up. Madison gets on top of her basically and says, "Surprise, bitch. Bet you thought you've seen the last of me." Do they know each other? We don't know Mallory's last name. Could it be Montgomery? I still think she is like the dead fetus ghost baby of Langdon's twin. Well, that was really, God, Horror Story. That was so odd to explain. I do still believe she might be that, but is she a Montgomery as well? Is that why she's so powerful? Because she has the witch backing and the weird Satan child upbringing? Who knows? I'm really excited to get into that. Any theories of what Mallory is? Because she seems to be way more powerful than some of them were, even in Coven. Like, that pyrokinesis she did, it took Madison a couple episodes to gain that. So what do you think about that? Forbidden Fruit is quite possibly one of my favorite episodes of American Horror Story in quite some time. I loved episode 1. I've loved episode 2 of Apocalypse. But episode 3 makes me think that those first 2 episodes were like, in comparison to this insanity. Things picked up amazingly this episode. Like I said in the beginning, the game has changed in only episode 3. What's episode 4? What's episode 5? What's episode 6? What's going to be happening this season? But my biggest question for you is, what are you thinking? Did you like Forbidden Fruit as much as I did? Because I really like this episode. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought of this episode, what you thought of this video. I'm just having so much fun talking about this with you guys. Oh, also, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. YouTube really takes those thumbs up seriously. So if you can, leave me a thumbs up. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe. Anyone who is subscribing to my channel for these American Horror Story reviews, thank you. It means the world to me to get to talk about American Horror Story with you, to dive into this strange, strange world. It has been such a great time. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me into this conversation. I cannot wait for next week for another American Horror Story Apocalypse.